Welcome back, Magic fans. Ready for another deep dive.
Always.
Today, we're heading back to Hogwarts.
Back to school. I thought we graduated.
Well, not exactly. We're going beyond just Harry's story this time. We're looking at the whole Hogwarts curriculum. What really makes those classes tick?
Oh, I like this. So, are we talking textbook stuff?
More like,
Yeah.
what's the real impact? How do they prepare witches and wizards, not just for exams, but for life in the magical world?
You got some sources lined up, I bet.
Of course. We've got Screen Rant ranking the classes, CBR's top picks, even one Screen Rant piece suggesting which students would be the best teachers.
Oh, that's going to be fun. Imagine Harry as a professor.
Hold that thought. We'll get there. But first, gotta lay the groundwork right.
Right, foundation. So the core classes then. The ones everyone takes.
You got it. Defense against the dark arts, transfiguration, charms, potions. The whole shebang.
All right, I'm ready to take notes. Hit me with some magical knowledge.
Okay, so first up,
No,
Guide Aid. Can't talk Hogwarts without it.
Yeah, it's basically the main course at Hogwarts. But everyone always focuses on the dangerous stuff.
Well, yeah, because it is dangerous. But also, Screen Rant pointed out something. The diet teaching position is cursed.
What? Like literally cursed?
Yeah, no teacher lasts more than a year. Imagine the tension in that classroom.
Whoa. So every year, new teacher, new style, new potential for things to go wrong. Yikes.
Exactly. And CBR says defense against the dark arts is vital, and they're right. It's not just about learning spells, it's about surviving in a world where dark magic is a real threat.
Okay, intense. What's next? Still got 6 more core classes to cover.
All right. How about transfiguration?
Turning teacups into tortoises. Classic.
Not just teacups. Think bigger. Screen Rant mentioned Professor McGonagall.
Oh yeah, she's the head of Gryffindor. Stern but fair.
She's also an animagus.
Yeah.
And she can turn into an animal.
Wait, seriously? Wow, they don't teach you that in regular school.
Nope. Suddenly transforming objects seems a lot less impressive when your teacher can, transform herself into a cat.
Right. Talk about a power move. Okay, so D-Bay is intense. Transfiguration is wild. What about Charms? That one always seemed more everyday magic.
Oh, don't underestimate Charms. Screen Rant actually ranks it pretty high.
Why is that?
It's about weaving magic into, everyday life, making things easier, more efficient, more magical, I guess.
Okay, I'm starting to see it. It's the more subtle side of magic. Less about flashy spells, more about understanding how magic can enhance the world around you.
Exactly. It's the foundation for a lot of what makes the wizarding world so unique.
Okay, Charms, I see you. What's next on the list? We've got potions, herbology, history of magic, and astronomy.
Well, speaking of charms and weaving magic into life, maybe history of magic isn't so boring after all.
Hold on. Everyone hates Binns, the ghost teacher. Screen Rant even said so.
Yeah. But understanding the path, how magic has shaped the world, maybe that's the real charm.
You might have a point there. It's you gotta know where you came from to know where you're going.
Right. Plus, CBR pointed out that Professor Sinistra, the astronomy teacher, wasn't even in the movies.
Whoa, seriously. So there's a whole side of Hogwarts we don't even see in the films.
Exactly. And maybe even those seemingly lesser classes are way more important than we think.
Okay, I'm intrigued. You've got me thinking differently about these core classes. What stands out to you the most from all this?
Honestly, the deity curse is just, wow. Imagine being a student, knowing your teacher might not be there next year.
Right, and not because they got a better job, but because of something potentially dangerous. That's gonna add a whole layer of stress to the learning experience.
Totally. Okay, so we've laid the foundation with the core curriculum.
Wait, are we about to dive into electives? Because those are where things get really
We
interesting.
know it, but that's a story for another time.
Hey.
Okay, so electives, where Hogwarts students get to choose their own path, right?
Exactly. Like choosing a major in college, but with, more magic.
Way more magic. So, Screen Rant made this list of which students would be the best teachers. And some of their picks are spot on.
Oh, yeah. Give me the highlights. Who do they have teaching what?
Well, first up, the obvious one. Harry teaching defense against the dark arts.
Come on, that's practically canon at this point, right?
Right. But Screen Rant pointed out something interesting. He already did it with Dumbledore's army.
Oh, true. That's some serious real-world experience, not just book smarts.
Exactly. But then, makes you wonder, wouldn't he be a little intense as a teacher? Having faced Voldemort and all that.
Good point. How do you teach defense when you've been on the front lines of a magical war? That's gotta leave a mark.
Right. It'd be a very different kind of data class. Less theory, more, okay, here's how to actually survive a dark curse.
Okay, Harry as dad, a professor. I can see it. Who else is on this list?
All right, next up we've got Neville Longbottom. For herbology, of course.
Oh, come on. That's perfect. He's practically a plant whisperer.
I know, right? But Screen Rant mentioned something I loved. His herbology LWL score was so high, it made up for his awful potions grade.
Poor Neville. See, even wizards have their strengths and weaknesses. Makes him more relatable.
Exactly. Like, you don't have to be good at everything to find your passion and excel.
Okay, I'm loving these picks so far. Who else did they have teaching?
Okay, this one's my favorite. Luna Lovegood for care of magical creatures.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Right, she's so open-minded, accepting of all those weird and wonderful creatures.
Plus, she ends up becoming a magizoologist, right? So it totally fits her future.
And get this, she marries Rolf Scamander, Newt Scamander's grandson.
No way. Talk about a family legacy. Okay, her co-MC classes would be legendary. I'm picturing nifflers and bowtruckles everywhere.
I bet she'd bring in creatures most people wouldn't even believe existed, let alone know how to handle.
It wouldn't even be about memorizing facts. It'd be like opening your mind to the whole spectrum of magical life.
I would sign up for that class in a heartbeat. All right, any pick some Screen Rant that surprised you?
They had Percy Weasley for Transfiguration. I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, he's smart, but kind of rigid, right? Not exactly the Transfiguration vibe.
Right. You need to be flexible, creative. Transfiguration is all about transforming things, thinking outside the box. Percy's more of a by-the-book kind of guy.
But then again, maybe some students need that structure. Maybe Percy's class would be known for, like, perfect execution, flawless spells.
True. Maybe we're underestimating him. See, this is why I love this deep dive. It makes you think about these characters in a whole new way.
All right, so we've covered the main academic subjects. But Hogwarts isn't just classrooms, right? What about those essential skills like flying and apparition?
Oh yeah, those are like rites of passage in the wizarding world. CBR was talking about how flying lessons with Madame Hooch are about more than just, staying in the air.
It's that feeling of freedom, right?
Yeah.
Connecting with generations of witches and wizards who came before you.
Exactly. Plus, it lays the groundwork for Quidditch. Shows how Hogwarts is about the whole experience, not just academics.
Those tryouts gotta be intense.
Yeah.
Speaking of intense, Screen Rant was describing the apparition class. And wow, it's not easy.
It's like getting your driver's license, but if you mess up, you could splinter yourself. Definitely raises the stakes a bit.
You have to be 17 to even take the test. It shows how powerful magic can be and how important it is to learn control.
Yeah, it's not just a fun way to travel, it's serious magic with serious consequences if you're not careful.
All right, before we move on to our final thoughts, I want to hear from you listeners. Which Hogwarts student do you think would make the most surprising professor? Tell us in the comments. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Core classes, electives, even dreamed up our ideal Hogwarts faculty.
It's amazing how much there is to unpack, isn't it? And we've only just scratched the surface.
Right, it makes you realize Hogwarts is more than just a school. It's like a whole way of life.
It's about preparing these young witches and wizards for everything, not just exams.
Exactly, it's about like shaping them as people, giving them the tools they need to make a difference in the world.
Think about it. Defense against the dark arts. It teaches them to be vigilant, to face their fears.
And transfiguration. That's all about creativity, thinking outside the box, transforming not just objects, but maybe even themselves.
In Charms, it's about finding the magic in the everyday, making life a little brighter, a little more efficient.
Even those classes that seem kind of boring, like History of Magic, they help you understand the past so you can learn from it.
Right. And Muggle studies, that's about empathy, bridging the gap between two worlds.
It's like every class has this hidden depth to it. They're not just teaching spells, they're teaching how to be a good person, a responsible member of the magical community.
So where does that leave us all these classes later? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think it's about asking yourself, what would your place be in this world?
If you were stepping onto the Hogwarts Express today, what classes would you be most excited for?
What kind of witch or wizard would you want to be?
It's a fun thought experiment, right? But it also shows how powerful stories like Harry Potter can be.
They let us tap into our own sense of wonder, to imagine ourselves in this magical world and think about what we'd contribute.
And maybe, just maybe, this deep dive has inspired you to go back and explore the Harry Potter universe even more.
Reread the books, watch the movies, dive into the fan theories. There's always more to discover.
So keep that curiosity alive, keep exploring, and keep the magic going.
Until next time, Magic fans.